$300 budget is one that probably a lot of you don't understand the intricacies of it. But a good portion of that goes to police services, to fire services, to social services that you value the most. And what I try to do in spreading the word with our commissioners, with our department heads, and with you here tonight is I gave 3 general principles to guide us. I want the city to be safe. Not only safe in the public safety sense, but safe in the core level of social services, safety net safe. I want the city to be solvent, that we have programs that we can afford to pay for. And then I want the city to be successful as we've always been. That is, that we celebrate and try to support all of the diverse things that we do that bring visitors here, that keep our children here, that keep families wanting to come and grow up here. So safe, solvent, and successful have been the 3 principles that I've shared with city staff and with commissioners and with presidents of commission as we begin this budget process. Tonight, though, is all about listening to you, first and foremost, and to getting that input that we've always said we value and that I truly value. So I'm going to be listening very carefully to what you all have to say and trying to make that balance. But $380 million balance is not easy to do. And there will be decisions that we all have to make. And we have to come together to make those decisions so that we can have a balanced budget. So with that, I'm going to start my ears open and listening to what everybody has to say, and that we will have a budget that I believe will be an honest one that reflects everybody's input. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. So welcome to Tenderloin Elementary School. This is one of our amazing public schools here in the city of San Francisco. And I want to thank Principal Michelle Sousa for hosting us here tonight in her space. And now I get to introduce our lovely MCs for tonight, District 6 leaders and advocates. We have Misha from United Players. And we have Anaconda, also an advocate here in our district. So I turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Like the mayor and Supervisor Kim said, this is the first step in the budget process. We're beginning early. We're beginning engaged, as you can see from all your faces here. And so there will be a short time for public comment. It's going to be a short time, so if you are not able to speak or bring your issue to the table, please stay engaged. There will be more of these town halls. There will be the budget process at the Board of Supervisors chambers, but the more we are involved, the more we can work with the mayor and the supervisors to make sure that the budget reflects the priorities of San Francisco. So one correction that we wanted to point out is that the translation today was provided by the Office of Civic Engagement and Immigrant Affairs, so we want to thank them for that.
All right, so hello, how are you? Thanks for coming out tonight. We would like to thank Greg Wagner for being here tonight, who is I didn't write that correctly, the budget director. Yes, I couldn't read my own writing, sorry. Bob Palciano from Rec and Parks, Phil Arnold from HSA and DAAS, Chief Goodwin from the Police Department, Mohammed, please be respectful. These people have given their time to come here and be part of the process, just like you have. So, Mohammed Nooni from the Department of Public Works, and Barbara Garcia from the Department of Public Housing. Health. Sorry. Hey, listen, I'm new at this, just like everyone else. Well, several other people. So sorry for making those mistakes. And also, I was asked to remind you that even though all of you can't speak tonight because of the limited time, it's really important that we remember the 2 examples that I can think of in recent memory where the community came together to change how the CPMC was going to go in up there, and also how Lion Martin has really made a revival and is going to stay open. And I think that this is the first step in the community engagement, and you do have the voices to make those changes. So thanks for coming and sharing them.
So in the last couple of weeks, Supervisor Kim's office has been convening budget stakeholders, and we're going to hear from a few of them as it relates to District 6. A lot of the issues are citywide, and so you may find that they resonate with you if you live in a different neighborhood. But we're going to have short presentations from them. Then there will be the community open mic and the fishbowl process. If you have not filled out a speaker card but you would like to speak, there will be people walking around the audience. Just kind of wave them down and let them know that you would like to fill one of those out. Like I said, the open mic time is going to be short. We know that there are many differing viewpoints and differing priorities for how people feel the budget should be allocated, but we want to remember to be respectful of each other. We're all here to work together, and so please, when someone is speaking, do not interrupt them. Be courteous. If you have gone over your time, then we're sorry, but you need to cut your comment short and go. But please come, bring your input, be direct, be to the point, and if you don't get a chance or you don't want to come up and speak, there's some butcher paper up there that you can write your thoughts down and add it to the wall, and those will all be tallied and documented and given to Supervisor Kim and Mayor Edley. So without further ado, we are going to call up Angelica to give us a short budget overview.
Sorry. So first off, we should give everybody in this room a hand for being here today. So let's give ourselves a hand. Remember, this is a People's Town Hall, Budget Town Hall. This is your time to speak. So, you know, every year the city budget is possibly one of the most important decision-making that the city of San Francisco make, right? Do you guys agree? Yes. So decisions that are made about the city's money spent impacts the lives of everybody in this room and outside this room. Every year, the budget is created in 3 phases. There was a handout before you sat down. There was a few handouts, so I'm just going to go through them real quick. First is from December to February, the city department creates their proposed budget for the city's next fiscal year. From March to May, the mayor makes those department proposed budgets and creates his entire proposed city budget, making changes along the way. And then from June to July, we all know this, from June to July, we come out to the Board of Supervisors because they take the mayor's budget and gets to make changes and edits it. How many of you have been to the city budget in July, come out to talk about budget issues? I hope we'll all come out there in June because we all need you there. All right? So we are very excited to have Mayor Lee has agreed to partner with many supervisors in the city to have budget town hall meetings, and we heard he has 7. Because we all know this is the first time we actually saw the mayor do a budget town hall. If anything, this is the first time we saw the mayor, right? And again, there will be many opportunities to be heard at the Board of Supervisors, so please don't feel like this is the only place. There's going to be a Budget and Finance Committee hearing in June, and where they will be holding hearings. And again, this is the first opportunity for you, and we really want to make sure that we hear from you. And just like the mayor said, he wants to balance the budget, and we want to make sure it's not balanced in the backs of immigrants, people of color, low income, homeless, all the people that's represented here. We want to see a balanced budget, not in the backs of District 6, right? Yeah. Can I hear power to the people?
All right, I did so well the last time. They gave me another name. So we'd like to welcome Maria Sue from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families as well. Hello. And now we're going to hear from Larry for the seniors and disabled.
First, I'd like to say thank you all for coming, because you're the guys who are in charge and you know what we need to have. I asked him, why do you ask me to come up here and speak for the seniors? He said, well, you were broke 2 years ago, after working all your life, so are you the guy to go talk. Well, I'll tell you, without the Cannon KIP, without the family service, without the housing or Tenderloin Housing Clinic, I'd have been in the street after working all my life. All my life. I want to say thank all of you who have the nerve to come up and ask the mayor and the staff to please consider keeping those units open, because there are people who don't have food on the weekend. They were telling me this morning they're going to cut out the food program for the weekends. Well, what are those people going to do? They got nothing to eat. They need something to eat. They need some place to go to clean themselves up and to have a connection to the community. This is what those services do. They connect you to the community and give you a chance to change your clothes, to change your clothes, to get clean water to drink, to be able to have association with somebody who might be able to tell you something that's helpful to you. I've known most of these guys here for many years, and they've all known me. Larry worked all his life, 2 jobs. He never was without a job. But after 3 operations, your landlord can raise your rent up past what your money is. That means you got nowhere to go. You're stuck. Doesn't make no difference if you worked all your life. You're still stuck. So I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to come before you, because I already cried in every office in the city because I couldn't believe it. I was broke after working all my life. But I'm telling you, the family service, Tenderloin Housing Clinic, the Cannon KIP, those people doing a great job. And I want to thank all of you for listening at me for a minute. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry, for sharing with us. Next, I would like to call Maria and Oscar to come and speak to us about family and youth issues.
Buenas tardes a todos.
Good afternoon to everyone.
Mi nombre es María Gómez.
My name is Maria Gomez,
Soy madre de familia de 3 niños.
and I'm the mother of a family of 3 children.
Todos reciben IEP.
All of my children have an IEP,
Y tengo un niño con autismo severo que no habla, tiene 8 años.
and I have a child with severe autism who is 8 years old and needs to speak with sign language.
Y yo recurro a muchas agencias, principalmente al Centro de Recursos.
Okay, and I go to a lot of different programs, principally to the Center of Resources.
En el programa también de SONCANS, puedo mencionarles unos más.
Okay, and also to the program of SOMACAN, and I'm going to mention a couple more.
Supportive Families, Open Gay, Boys and Girls, servicio individualizado, one-on-one, muchos programas, y no hablo inglés.
So I go to a lot of different programs. I think you understood the one she said. And I don't speak English.
Y recibo también servicios de recursos mentales.
And I also receive mental services.
Entonces me cuesta mucho trabajo a mí con estos recortes y he tenido experiencias muy difíciles pidiendo ayuda, aún en estas agencias que hablan español. Me ha tenido muchas experiencias difíciles.
Okay, and because of this, I've had a lot of difficult experiences. It's been really hard for me to find help. Okay, even asking for help in the agencies that speak Spanish, it's hard for me to ask for help.
Y he recibido muchas discriminación.
And I've come up against a lot of discrimination.
Y más cuando voy en el bus a veces con mi niño, me dicen que lo calle y que no él soporta a la gente mucha, por eso él no está aquí.
Okay.
No soporta a la gente, mucha gente lo pone muy exaltado.
Okay. And I feel that they don't support the people very well, and
Está bien,
Okay.
Entonces es muy difícil. Pero yo les agradezco a todas las agencias que ayudan a nuestros niños y entonces les agradezco a las agencias que ayudan
Okay,
a nuestros niños.
and because it's been so hard for me, I want to thank all of the agencies that help our children,
Porque son el futuro de nuestro país.
because they are the future of our country.
Muchas gracias por su atención. Tengan un buen día.
And that was, thank you very much for your attention. Please have a good day. Now I'm going to hand off the mic to Oscar. Okay, do you want to go ahead and step maybe to that side? Why don't you go over here? And
No, it's okay, right here.
over here. You got to go where they can see you, okay? A little bit more, all the way.
Thank you for being here. And, well, my name is Oscar, and I go to Mission Learning Center. And, well, my sister's been there for a lot of years, and I said that I wanted to try Mission Learning Center. When I first got there, I was in 2nd grade, and I was reading at a kindergarten level. In 1 year, Mission Learning Center has helped me a lot. So I think if you take the money away from that program, there will be no more programs in the mission. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Oscar and Maria. Okay.
This kind of discrimination, we need to make it stop in this time and this moment. Because it's not fair what happened.
All right.
Thank you so much.
And you know, I do encourage you to share that and make sure that that voice is heard. Make sure you write it down. Make sure you put it on the board as well. Make sure that you put that out there as well. Okay, and now we're going to hear from SRO tenants with David.
Hi, my name is David Elliott Lewis, and I'm here representing the Central City SRO Collaborative. I'm really here representing all SRO tenants and really all tenants in the city. Painful and difficult decisions need to be made. These decisions also need to be smart. After-the-fact treatment can cost so much more than before-the-fact prevention. Consider these trade-offs. Community health services versus ambulances and emergency room visits. Substance abuse treatment versus domestic violence. Hoarding and cluttering programs versus eviction procedures. Affordable and supportive housing programs versus homelessness. Over 11,000 of our city's most vulnerable residents live in 270 SRO hotels. SRO stands for single room occupancy hotels. They're spread across the Tenderloin and the South of Market neighborhoods and even other parts of the city. Most of these were constructed after the 1906 earthquake. They were built to house the workers who helped rebuild our city after that quake. They're home to over 500 families and 1,000 children just in the Tenderloin area alone. In addition to families with children, they're home to seniors. They're home to the disabled, to some of our city's most vulnerable residents. For many, these SRO rooms are a safeguard to people falling into homelessness. They're also a step up and a step out for people who have been homeless. Please remember that the true cost of homelessness is not just found in the tally of services used, but it's also in the impact of our city's reputation with tourists, the quality of life for all who live here. Almost done. Helping to move people out of homelessness and stay out involves an interlinked series of sort of stepping stone programs. They begin with shelters, payee programs, case management, supportive housing services. They include eviction defense assistance. They include advocacy programs coupled with a functional behavioral health system that could provide counseling and treatment on demand. These services help get the disabled, seniors, the isolated, the most vulnerable out of their homes and into the community where they can both help themselves and help the community. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, David and crew. Now we want to bring up Erica to share with us about homelessness.
District 6 has the largest population of homeless people in the city. 43% of the city's homeless population resides in the Tenderloin, South of Market, and North Mission area. In addition to that, it is the poorest district in the city and has the largest proportion of other social conditions often linked to poverty, overcrowding, substandard housing, disability, mental illness, addictive disorders, unemployment, and more. Over the course of 2010, 9,000 different people utilized homeless shelters. The district is home to the 3 largest shelters and 2 small shelters. Since 2004, 1/3 of the shelter beds have been lost. 3 of the shelters were located in District 6. 1 year after the recession hit, the wait list for family shelters more than doubled. The list went up to 214 at the end of August 2009, and since then has fluctuated between 140 and 175 families. Over half of the resource center's capacities has been lost citywide since 2004. In District 6, 5 resource centers have closed and 1 has opened up. Resource centers offer a wide range of services to homeless people. Housing is the primary solution to homelessness, and San Francisco has demonstrated a strong commitment to permanent affordable housing. Some of the supportive housing for these individuals or families require on-site supportive services to maintain their housing. This type of housing is known to save the city $20,000 in other public costs for every unit it provides. At the same time, in the last 2 years, supportive housing funding in San Francisco has been cut $1 million. District 6 is home to a disproportionate number of individuals who are suffering from mental illness. Many of those individuals self-medicate with drugs and alcohol and form serious addictive disorders. District 6 has 2 mental health clinics in which privately run and others publicly run. Due to over $32 million in reduction to substance abuse, mental health, and related health-funded homeless programs in the past 4 years, the mental health system in District 6 does not have close to the capacity to serve District 6 residents. For example, High Street Clinics, Tenderloin Outpatient Clinics, has 2-month waiting lists. Cash assistance plays a vital role in contributing to hunger, desolation, and homelessness. Any reductions have historically had a direct impact on homelessness and hunger in the cutting off assistance for extended times or reducing benefits. Most people on cash assistance are currently housed, and incidents of hunger in San Francisco have been skyrocketing. There are 2 proposals by HSA that could hinder getting homeless people off the streets or create more homelessness. One is to cut people off all forms of public assistance when they miss an appointment or other minor rule violations. And the other is to reduce disability retroactive checks to cover the cost of shelter living. I utilize these programs. I went from being homeless and unemployed to living independently and working as a community organizing peer advocate at a hospitality house, giving the tools that were given to me to my interns and showing them how to share their gifts. I am here today to advocate for all the other Erica Kanes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next we have Brian, who is going to talk about queer issues.
Hey everybody, my name is Brian Basinger. I'm the director of the AIDS Housing Alliance here in San Francisco. I'm also a 22-year resident of District 6, and I can't believe I'm getting that old. And I'm here to talk about the needs of the LGBT community and also the needs of the HIV communities, where contrary to some people's perception, District 6 is our home. And when we got kicked out of the Castro because of all of the Ellis Act evictions, this is where we wound up. We've got nowhere left to go. This is it. We don't get to move to the East Bay. We don't get to move back home to Kentucky. I can't go live with my daddy in Tennessee because they don't have services. I need to stay here to maintain access to the health care that keeps me alive, right? And so we're going to fight to the death to maintain what we got because you're taking it all away and we can't let you take away anymore. And also, for everybody, LGBT issues, our issues are your issues. We are you. We represent every community, every age, every nationality, every ethnicity, every language. We are you and you are us. Our issues are your issues. But to just dig down a little bit onto what's going on with us, because of our community's need to invest in trying to buy our civil rights, the same rights that other people get for free, we've been trying to buy. And so our community has been making these substantial investments in trying to secure marriage equality, to repeal the Defense of Marriage Act, to repeal the to pass the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, to allow us to have the dignity of a job in our nation's largest employer in the military. We're tapped out. And now all of the safety net services, all that money's gone. And we're frayed and tattered at the edges, and it's coming apart, and we're coming off at the wheels. And we should not have the most vulnerable people in San Francisco who need our services have our pursuit of our civil rights come off of our backs, where it comes out of the services for us, because we don't get these other things anyway. That's a luxury for us. And so what people with HIV and AIDS need in this town, what transgender people need in this town, and what LGBT youth need in this town is a job. We need a job. And there are substantial barriers to employment that we receive. Anybody know a disabled person with AIDS who's got a job here? Raise your hand. Where is it? Where's our jobs? There's money and services for people to get jobs to serve us, but where are our jobs? Right? That's indicative of some kind of endemic discrimination against creating employment for disabled people with HIV and AIDS in our own organizations. Transgender people need the jobs, right? What is it? 47% of transgender people have lost their job or been denied employment or denied a raise because of their job. We've got this huge problem with transitional age youth graduating from these TAY programs into homelessness because they don't have a job. They don't have the income supports necessary to gain housing after the program. So we've invested all this money into 2 or 6 years worth of services, sometimes more, and they're coming out into homelessness, right? We need to invest in an exit strategy and a bridge to folks. And we also need to invest in the services. We need jobs, and the agencies that serve us need money, right? So we've got a $4 million cut to Ryan White Care that previously the speaker's been able to take care of it. We're not getting that now. That's going to be a huge impact, a 17% impact to HIV/AIDS services in San Francisco. Agencies are going to close. So what can you do about it? MOEWD should fund a proposal for HIV, youth, and trans subsidized job training program. We should the mayor should add funding into his budget for 100 subsidized employment programs for disabled people with HIV and AIDS at $700 a month. It's in the city's HIV/AIDS comprehensive plan. Human Services Agency should to continue to fund the transgender employment initiatives. We should avoid the $20,000 cut to the only LGBT senior services program in the city. If you cut that program, it's not like we've got other programs that can absorb it. And then I could have more, but I know my time's up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. And next I want to bring up Davina, who's going to share with us about immigrant experiences. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Divina Keane, and I'm a resident of Next Door Shelter on District 6. I would like to share some facts about immigrants with you. It is estimated that San Francisco has 41,546 undocumented immigrants. Latino immigrants constitute 14% of the shelter adult population and 23% of all families living in shelters. The Mission Neighborhood Resource Center in the North Mission is the only day center that offers showers, case management, health care, and other critical, culturally and linguistically competent services to 1,700 homeless clients. South Market has a large concentration of low-income Filipino seniors and families living, working, and accessing much-needed services. Undocumented immigrants face serious barriers to access benefits and services. They lack health, insurance, access to income, and or living wages, access to benefits such as general assistance, food stamps, and SSI disability support, long-term shelter, affordable and supportive housing, and affordable child care. Free legal services protect immigrants from landlord abuse, such as illegal rent increases and inheritable dwellings, and provide them with eviction defense. What we are asking you tonight is to protect safe spaces to protect safe spaces and access to survival services for homeless immigrants. Protect support services in the South Market area that provide affordable child care, after-school programming, and services that help stabilize these families. Protect the Filipino World War II veterans and many of their surviving spouses. Cuts to their services will greatly impact them because of their age, language isolation, diminishing health, and their ability to access federal and stable subsidies, including home health care, which is also threatened by cuts. Please protect legal services for immigrants. Protect the Department of Public Health funded medical access program. Dear Mayor, please consider us immigrants before preparing your budget. Thank you.
You're right. Thank you, Davina. And now we are going to hear from Revenue with Gordon. Hey, Gordon.
Hey, thank you. My name is Gordon Marr. I'm here tonight with Jobs with Justice, which is a coalition of community and labor organizations that are working together to promote worker rights and social justice locally and nationally. And I was asked just to make some brief remarks about the revenue side of the picture and tax policy. So my first point is that we can't solve the budget crisis through cuts alone. And I think this is a pretty obvious statement to everybody here tonight. This forum tonight is really, really important to allow the community and people that are directly affected by the budget, these terrible budget cuts, to speak out and raise their voice directly to our public officials. But too often forums like this and the other ones that are going to happen soon, the discussion's constrained just to things like talking about the terrible impact about the budget cuts. It's constrained to talking about layoffs of public sector workers, cutbacks to the benefits of public sector workers, or even, as we see in the Midwest, attacks on even the collective bargaining rights of the so-called big bad public sector unions. And I think it's really important to broaden the the framework of these discussions and include the revenue picture and the tax picture. So the next point I want to make is just that the underlying cause of the budget crisis that we're all talking about here tonight is really a revenue problem, and it's not a spending problem. The top 1% of the wealth holders, or the richest people, they control 34% of the wealth in this country, and the state income tax rates, are lower, and the federal income tax rates are lower today than they were before. In 1993, the highest tax bracket in California was 11%. Currently, it's 9.3%. The wealthiest 1% of taxpayers average $1.6 million per year in income. Restoring the tax top rate in California back to 11% would bring in $5 billion to the state in revenue that would go to the state and local government to protect services. And tax rates for corporations also are lower today than they used to be. In 1980, California corporations contributed nearly 15% of the state budget, whereas today they only contribute 11%. Closing the corporate tax loopholes that have been implemented in the state, just in California since 1991, would actually bring in $16 billion per year, again, in revenue that could help protect education and needed healthcare and needed public services. So I know I was asked to wrap up, but I just wanted to end with a couple quick points. I mean, tax policy can be progressive or regressive, and Jobs with Justice and the community and labor organizations that we work with, we're pushing for progressive revenue and progressive taxation as the real the real approach to revenue and solving the budget crisis that reflects San Francisco values. So progressive policies are ways to address the state and the city budget crisis without adversely affecting the vast majority of Californians and San Franciscans. And it is fair that people and big corporations, wealthy individuals and big corporations that have benefited immensely and in many cases obscenely, by the economy and from our own communities, should pay their fair share to ensure that our communities are able to survive and thrive in 2011. So, thank you.
All right, let's thank everyone once again for their thoughtful presentations. So we will now be beginning our open mic process. If you can submit a speaker card, that would help us stick to our agenda. We're going to be calling speakers up 3 at a time, and each speaker will have 2 minutes. If you can please be courteous and stick to the time limit. We know there are a lot of people here with a lot of things to say, and unfortunately we probably will not be able to hear all of them. But remember to stay engaged. This is just the beginning of the process, and I'd just like to say that these fine public officials probably did not have to be here today, but they're here, and I think that says a lot. So let's be respectful of one another, and as we call your name, if you can line up right here, then we'll get started with the public comment. So the first three speakers will be Roy Riccio, Lillian Egloff, and Eric Schnabel. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but if the other folks can come up here, if I called your name.
Where do you sign up for this?
You can sit up with these folks right here.
Yellow cards.
So Roy Riccio, Lillian Egloff, and Eric Schnabel.
Where is Roy?
Are you?
Okay, well, you can go first.
So greetings, Supervisor Kim, Mayor Lee, everyone else who's here.
Nobody can hear you.
Sorry. Better.
Nobody can hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So my name is Eric Schnabel. I'm a District 6 resident for the past 3 years. Live in the South of Market District area. I'm here to speak on behalf of my work at Lyric.
Keep talking.
Okay.
I'll do this.
Thank you. So I'm here to speak on behalf of my work at Lyric, an LGBTQ youth center in the Castro District. In addition, also I want to represent the concerns of the Community Partnership for LGBTQ youth, a 7-agency collaborative of agencies created to provide comprehensive resources for the needs of LGBTQ youth, and includes Lyric, Larkin Street Youth Services, API Wellness Center, Bay Area Young Positives, the LGBT Center, Department of Public Health, and Park and Rec. District 6 is one of the neighborhoods with the highest number of LGBT youth in San Francisco. Last year, at least 15 to 20% of the youth that Lyric served through our services reported they lived in District 6. In addition, 2 of the main agencies in the partnership are based in District 6, API Wellness Center and Larkin Street. The number of total LGBT youth that live in the district is unclear because of the lack of comprehensive data on LGBT youth in San Francisco, but the number is substantial. Many of the LGBT youth that Lyric and the partnership are working with are facing multiple issues, especially transitional age youth. These youth are among the most vulnerable youth and among the least served populations by mainstream agencies. Many youth have left abusive and unsupportive homes, are dealing with homelessness and affordable housing issues, need supportive employment services and sustainable jobs, have a real need for comprehensive and culturally competent services, and mental health and substance use. As a result, LGBTQ youth are particularly vulnerable because of the city budget cuts that are increasingly likely to happen, both because of the lack of culturally competent services for those youth and the lack of access for LGBT youth at many of the other agencies across the city. Lyric alone is looking at cuts of 50% this year of what we receive from city agencies, and that's a 72% overall reduction in our city funding from 2008-2009. So Supervisor Kim, Mayor Lee, I want to encourage you to meet with the Community Partnership for LGBTQ youth to hear our concerns, for us to express our fears about the current round of budget cuts, and also for us to share with you what the various agencies in the Community Partnership are doing to support and empower LGBT youth. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to call 3 more names. We have Dominique Leslie, we have Laura Thomas, and Pat Zamora. And next up is Oscar's mom, isn't it? Yeah, come on up. Vilma. Is that good? Yeah.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes, señor alcalde, y miembros de los comités y al público en general. Mi nombre es Vilma Ticas. Yo vivo en el área de la misión.
Good evening, Mayor and department heads and general public. My name is Vilma Ticas, and I live in the mission.
Mi hijo asiste a diferentes programas, incluyendo al que él ya mencionó, pero mi hijo, por ejemplo, va a Boys and Girls de la Excelsior, toma clases de guitarra.
My son attends a lot of programs. He takes classes for guitar. ¿Y cuál escuela va?
Él va a una escuela particular, pero porque en la escuela particular tengo ayuda de Bexington y de la arquidiócesis. Él va a la San Pedro.
Her son goes to St. Peter's, and it's because of generous scholarship programs and the Archdiocese fund that they have.
Okay. Mi hijo también va a clases de natación, va a hacer tareas a los lugares de la misión.
He's going to naturalization classes, and he goes to do his homework at different organizations in the mission.
Okay. Sin la ayuda de estos programas, mi hijo no pudiera ser un estudiante excepcional, ya que lleva un segundo honor en su clase.
Without the assistance of these programs, her son wouldn't be able to be the exceptional student that he is, and he's even on the second. He's gotten a second honor at his school for his academics.
Okay. Yo pienso que los niños es el futuro de nuestro país y que si cortamos el dinero de estos programas, vamos a tener más niños en las calles, porque no van a tener qué hacer.
I think that the children are the future of this country, and if we cut the money for these programs, there will be more children in the street because they won't have anything to do.
Gracias. Esa es mi preocupación. También otra preocupación que yo tengo es por los ancianos. Los programas de los ancianos son bien importantes porque ellos fueron los que dejaron la experiencia para el futuro que no son nuestros niños. Entonces yo soy de la creencia que a nuestros ancianos y a nuestros niños tenemos que brindarles un cuidado bien especial. ¿Por qué los...?
This is one of her worries about children, and another one of her worries is about seniors, and she just wants to say that programs for seniors or programs for children are so important, and it's so important to give both of those communities a real vibrant service and an important service.
Okay. Muchísimas gracias. Espero que puedan compartir un poquito de ese dinero y también que vaya a estos programas. Gracias. Buenas noches.
She just hopes that you can share and that these programs can have some of the money from the budget. Thank you very much.
I'm Laura Thomas, and I'm here with two hats as the chair of the San Francisco HIV Health Services Planning Council. I want to reiterate the concern about the $4 million in Ryan White funding for HIV health services that we are likely, unfortunately, to lose this year. And we need to figure out how we can make up those cuts because they fund essential services, particularly here in District 6, for people with HIV and AIDS who are uninsured and underinsured. I have two other concerns. One is around hepatitis C. I had the honor of being appointed to the previous mayor's hepatitis C task force. We've finished a report, and we've got a number of things in it that we think funding them will help save us money down the road in terms of preventing new HIV transmissions, ensuring that people currently living with Hep C who don't know that are aware of their status and have access to treatment, and ensuring that the services that the department provides are optimally coordinated so that we're not spending too much money on different things, and ensuring that people who are in Healthy San Francisco, for example, have access to the full range of Hep C treatments that are available. One of the recommendations in particular around preventing new Hep C transmissions of a supervised injection facility has the potential to save the city significant money down the road. And the last comment is specific to community policing and how we're deploying our police and our criminal justice resources. We're spending a lot of money using our criminal justice system to manage public health issues, to manage mental health issues, and to manage substance use. I didn't realize that was going to be the applause line. That's okay. And we need to ensure that we have sufficient resources in our public health system so that people do not have to go through the criminal justice system in order to access mental health services and access criminal justice. And more importantly, they don't end up with a criminal record, which serves as such a barrier to housing, employment, and many other things down the road because of what is a health problem. So that's a plea to ensure that we're using our police resources wisely. We're not using them to arrest and incarcerate people with health problems, and to ensure that we have sufficient resources in the public health system to take care of their concerns. Thank you.
All right, and before Pat comes up, if we could have Dave Reardon and Cathy Toliver.
Good evening. My name is Pat Zamora. I'm the Tenderloin Clubhouse Director. I'm also a resident of District 6, and I want to thank the honored guests for being here tonight to hear from the people. In the District 6, we have two clubhouses for Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco, the Tenderloin Clubhouse and the Treasure Island Clubhouse. And we serve between both clubhouses 1,500 kids a year, and from all ethnicities. And I thought it would be really important to hear from the young people. And if there are some other teens in the audience or children, could you please stand up?
Hello, I'm Troy. I go to the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm a part of Keystone, Vice President, and I'm also a Youth of the Year for the Tenderloin Clubhouse. And growing up in the Tenderloin, I see a lot of homelessness, violence, and drug use. And I have a lot of friends and family members that died to a lot of violence and drug use, and most of them are high school dropouts. And I feel that a lot of programs like the Boys and Girls Club and VYDC and a lot of other programs in the Tenderloin, like, they really support youth to, like, go to school and then just do good. And then I feel that if we take money out of programs like this, kids are they're not gonna have a place to go. They're gonna go to the streets. So they're gonna be exposed to this violence, to this drugs, and to this homelessness. And yes, just basically, I just feel that instead of, like, spending money on things that stop people from, like, doing bad stuff, I feel like it should be put into schools and just youth programs, because that's what really keeps the youth. And we are the people that's gonna be the future. So yeah.
Good evening, fellow citizens. Thanks for your time. I'm a Muni Driver. I was born in San Francisco in 1947. I still live here. The economic crisis is a scam. Neither me, my union, my pension, my salary, or any other public service worker is the problem. The problem, as this gentleman so eloquently said, is lack of revenue. This white paper by the Budget Justice Coalition says, at a time when San Franciscans are facing an economic crisis. Well, they're not. In San Francisco, there are 18 billionaires, including the Feinsteins, Pelosi's, and Newsom's heavyweight Democratic Party. They control San Francisco. The SF has the 10th highest GDP of all American cities, 18th in the world. There's extreme wealth here. Go down to Union Square, see Gucci, Tiffany, Hyatt. There's 100 companies that are registered, located here. Now, earlier, an African man was crying here, and a Latina woman was crying. That's a crime. That's a travesty that they're crying up here, and these people are pandering to Larry Ellison. He's worth $18 billion. Yes! Right? He got the city to give him all kinds of tax breaks, property, everything else. That's who they pander to and try to tell us we're the problem. It's a crime. These police officers should be arresting them, not harassing these poor blacks. San Francisco is controlled by the white, the wealthy, and their businesses and corporations. They do not come to a town hall meeting and get 2 minutes to talk. They got his ear, Larry Ellison had his ear right away, okay? They set the agenda. They profit from San Francisco, and I'll tell you, their agenda is not our agenda. Me, I don't give a fuck about a white sailboat race. That's not my agenda. We need health care, we need services. We don't need more rich white men in their agenda.
Before our next speaker, the next three people I'd like to call up are Sherry Williams, Stephen Janicek, and Connie Ford. Please line up here on the side.
Hi, my name is Cathy Toliver, and I'm the Director of Shelters for Episcopal Community Services. We manage the Next Door Shelter with 334 beds and the Sanctuary Shelter with 200 beds for the homeless. I'm here to plead on behalf of the people that we serve on the cutting for the contingency budget is closing the next door shelter during the day, along with the resource centers. And I would encourage decision makers to think about homelessness and folks on the street. It's never just homelessness. Folks that we serve, it's homeless and mental illness. It's homelessness and being senior and not having family. It's homelessness and unemployment in an economy that's really, really difficult for the best of us to compete in. It's homelessness and so many other issues. And what we are asking with these budget cuts is 334 people to now not have the resource center to go to not be able to use restrooms at the shelter, to be able to rest if you're in a wheelchair, if you have a cane. This is what the budget cut will do. So again, it's resident impact. Also staffing impact. ECS at the shelters, we actually employ 25% of our staff are formerly homeless. So we are employing formerly homeless at $12.13 an hour. We will lay off, we will have to lay off some of our staff, and again, these are the working poor. And we ask that they not be penalized by these cuts. And finally, the neighborhood impact. Again, I say that having the shelter open, having a place for them to watch TV, to rest, to be with each other versus being on the street is going to save on police calls, is going to save on emergency calls, and in the long run is going to save money for the city. So again, I plead that we consider these cuts and not make them on the backs of the homeless and on the resource centers. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Supervisor Kim, and others. My name is Connie Ford, and I happen to live in District 5, but many of the members that are represented in my union work in SOMA. I work with the Union Office Employees Local 3. I'm also the Vice President of the Labor Council, and I just want to let you know, if you don't know already, that many of the workers who provide the services that are continually on the chopping block here are represented by a union and are working poor, trying to make ends meet. Many of these workers come from the communities in which they serve, whether it's homeless, mental ill, drug addiction, all of those kinds of things. These workers have done the really hard work to get up there every morning and do the work that's required of them to carry out the mission of the services that we all care for. These are living wage workers with health benefits. And as you've heard, there have been cut and cut and cut. These contracts have not had an increase in money since 2007. So when you're thinking about making additional cuts, when you say 10% and 10% more, it doesn't sound like much, but when these contracts for most of these CBOs come about that haven't been raised since 2007 and are doing the very hard work that everybody here has been talking about, an additional cut is called starvation. So I'm urging you to look for other places to take the cuts. The people in this community are the most vulnerable. The workers in this community are ready to, keep continuing to work. We're not asking for a raise this year, although of course that's what our members would like, but we are asking you to maintain the services and the work that's being provided as a whole unit. And I just want to give you a brief leaflet that describes it. I'm done, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to have time for a couple more over here, and then we're going to call two more names. So we have Betty Traynor and Susan Bryan.
Hi, my name is Stephen Janacek, and about 3 years ago I moved here because they were cutting a lot of HIV services in Texas, and I figured I'd be able to get better and health services here, and it seems that they're doing the same thing here. It's really frustrating because we don't have enough economic opportunity as HIV-positive disabled people in general. We can't work the 8 hours a day that a lot of people are able to, and there's just not the economic opportunity. And we have all of these cuts that we're talking about here, and one thing about revenue And I think that for each of these cuts, we need to have something that's producing revenue, whether it be organizations that are employing HIV-positive people or disabled people that can work within their disabilities. We need to come up with some kind of innovative thinking like we're doing with the cuts for revenue, because it's not going to fly just cutting things. We're going to continue to see people flooding in throughout the country to San Francisco because they're still making cuts out there what little they had. And we kind of ignore that fact, but people are going to still come here, and there's nothing. This is the only place that gay people have to come to live and be free. I spent years and years in Texas trying to be employed as a gay person. It doesn't work. So I come here, and there's no economic opportunity for us. So we need to think about that. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Lavina De Silva. I am here representing the Treasure Island community. I'm also the clubhouse director for Boys and Girls Clubs of San Francisco. I'm here, Mayor. Thank you for being here this evening, and Jane Kim. And just to support the Catholic Charities Development Center. So we really need funding for that, and to reestablish the Muni link that helps our families to the grocery store. Treasure Island, not many familiar. There is no grocery stores on the island. The population really consists of a transition community. But just even speaking of for the Boys and Girls Club, like Pat Zamora said, on a daily we serve about 180 kids to provide academic success, job readiness, healthy lifestyles. And if we're taken from our children that are the future of our generation, where would we be? So please, Mayor, please reconsider on any budget cuts. And I just want to say hi, Maria, and thank you for all the work you do. Please don't cut our children funds. Thank you.
I'm just a parent on Treasure Island, and my kids go to Treasure Island Boys and Girls Club, and just don't cut the funding because they need that clubhouse, just like I need my kids to do their homework there. Oh, yeah, one more question for the mayor and the supervisor. I just want to know, what are you guys doing with the money from the #1 cash crop in California, which is cannabis? I know you guys are charging the cannabis clubs a large tax. So I want to know, where is that tax money going, and why are we having all these budget crises if y'all are getting that much money from each club in San Francisco?
Hello, my name is Betty Trainer, and I'm the coordinator of the Friends of Bodecker Park. And the reason I'm speaking today is particularly for our Rec and Park Department and our clubhouses. Bodecker Park is in the Tenderloin at the corner of Jones and Eddy. It is only open 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it's the only park in the north of Market, Tenderloin, that is open to all ages, for seniors, kids, and adults. The other parks are for young people. So it's very urgent for us at Bodecker Park to have our park open more often. And also, I don't know if you're aware that all the clubhouses in San Francisco are not staffed now. And it's really urgent that we have more staffing of Rec and Park people at our clubhouses in San Francisco. They mainly have to be rented out to private organizations to provide the programming. And even though that might be necessary, I feel, and I think many others feel, that we should have our own city staff at the clubhouses providing programming. And it's a funding issue, of course, but I think it's really urgent to be able to have our own staff for Rec and Park Department in our clubhouses, in our rec centers, and particularly for our own park in our own District 6 in the Tenderloin. We need more staffing. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Susan Bryan. I live in District 6. I live in the heart of the Tenderloin, Daddy and Jones. I want to say to the elected officials and decision makers of San Francisco don't give away the store with tax cuts. Do you remember the dot-com situation? We couldn't do enough for those guys. Oh gosh, we were building lofts and not charging any taxes for schools. We were so happy that they were here and they were going to generate all that money for us. Well, you know what happened? Those guys went back to live in their parents' basement. So, San Francisco, everything starts here. Where's our pride? I mean, they should be happy to be here and not have us give them tax cuts all the time. We gave the Fisher family $30 million, didn't we, a while back? Where did that go? What good did that do us? Anyway, our Muni, our BART, brings these employees to the doors of where they have to work. We service them. That money has to come from somewhere, and it shouldn't come from us. It shouldn't come from, they should pay the freight. I mean, because where is our pride? Everything starts in San Francisco. We've got all the good ideas. Anybody moves away, what's going to happen is they're going to die on the vine. Thank you.
SRO people.
Thank you so much. We
already
called everybody.
SRO people. And we want you all to let SRO people know what's going on at City Hall. We do not know what's going on, and we pay rent in this city. And we do not feel that we get fair representation. We are the quiet, homeless indoors. And we want to have a better city that an earthquake or two tsunamis should not have to come before we all come together. And it's time that everyone in this city that bring money to this city and live in this city and love this city is on these boards. We want to know what's going on at City Hall. You can advertise on the Muni bus stops, let people know what's going on. People do not know what's going on. That's why a lot of SRO people are not here. And I say for SRO people, we want decent living where we Section 8 are paying our money. That is not free shelter. Thank you.
Look, it was on here. It was on here earlier.
Yes,
it was on here.
tenants.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I want to thank all the speakers. I want to thank everybody who's here. I am a District 6 resident. I'm a parent in this neighborhood. I'm a service provider in this neighborhood, and it's just beautiful to me to see our community here. District 6 is a lot of times the overlooked community in this city. People forget that families actually live here. People actually live here, so it's beautiful to see you all here. On April 16th, Mohammed Nuru with the Department of Public Works is doing a community cleanup in the South of Market, so please look into that. Come out and support. And remember, this is just the beginning of the process. This is just the beginning of the budget process. If you weren't able to speak, write down your comments and put them on the wall back there. I'm sure you can contact Supervisor Kim's office. There are many, many ways that you can continue to be engaged in this, because that's what we need, is for the community to come out and be at the table. Thank you so much. We're going to pass it on to close. But thank you all for being here tonight.
Oh. Thank you.
Let me add my thanks to everyone here tonight for your time, for your patience, listening to each other. It's very important that we get this information. And I also want to just thank our staff at the Office of Civic Engagement. I see them working very hard to make sure everybody understands what is going on. The budget is a very serious, it's one of the most important things we do in this city. And I want to make sure everybody is included throughout the city. And if it's as smooth as tonight, I don't mind going to 7 more of these things before the budget starts. So thank you very much for being patient with us and for sharing your ideas and your passion about how you love to be in the city and to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Again, just want to reiterate, thank you so much for being here. I do want to thank all of our department heads and our chief, our budget director for being here. We asked them to come and just listen. You often get to hear us, and we don't always get the same opportunity to hear you. So they all came knowing that they would not get an opportunity to speak or to respond, but they came really to get feedback from you as they developed their budget. So just want to give them thanks for being here tonight. Also, this would not have been possible if not for the many community residents and organizers that brought people out, that organized folks, that educated people about the budget and the budget process. So I really want to thank all the organizers and all the volunteers also, all the greeters, the people that provide childcare, all the folks over there, raise your hand. Paul, Chris, Tiffany, Johnny, Matthias, Diana, Joey, thank you so much for helping make tonight a success. And I want to thank everyone because this is a tough and painful and emotional process, and everyone really came ready and also very respectful. It did not have to go like this, and I just really wanted to appreciate that. And this is just the beginning of the dialogue and process for our office. We're going to continue to hold budget stakeholders meetings, so please come up to our staff, please raise your hand, and sign up so you find out when our meetings are and continue to engage. I really also want to thank community members for being thoughtful about what we can also contribute with these budget cuts, whether it's community groups that are saying, we'll come out and do more cleanups and help out in those costs. If you can help us bring lights to Victoria Manala Drake's Park, I mean, those are the types of solutions we can all contribute to that process as well. And I just want to say, you know, we really heard a lot of the things that that was said tonight. District 6 is home to one of the most diverse constituents here in the city. We have the poorest residents of San Francisco. We have LGBT, we have immigrants, people of color, we have youth, and a highest proportion of seniors in the city as well. We heard that people want to see more jobs. We want to see access to more jobs for our residents. We want to see more preventative versus just reactive. So we want to see youth after-school programs versus the police picking up our youth because they're out on the street, which I think our chief agrees with. We want to see more preventative health versus going to the emergency room. Those are all things that that were said tonight, and we got to come together and support revenue in the city. And that's where you can come in to help us to put that together. So thank you again. Also want to recognize Captain Garrity, who's here from Tenderloin Station. He hosts regular community meetings, so please go. He's really been a community partner for us. Are there any other announcements, Misha, Anaconda? Please return your translation headsets. All right, thank you again so much. I hold office hours where you don't have to make an appointment with me every first Friday and every first Saturday of the month, so check our website to come to. And get on our email list, Sunny and Gulo said. Thank you.